welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Reviews on the Couch, where we discuss movies, how they made us feel, and lessons we can pick from them. My name is Elsie Godwin. If this is your first time of stopping by, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the button below, the subscribe button below, and also hit the bell button so you get notified each time there's new content. Thank you. On this episode of Reviews on the Couch, we're discussing a Nigerian Christian drama titled God Calling. God Calling was released in December 2018, but right now it is available on Netflix. It was released on Netflix on Good Friday. If you haven't seen it, then I guess it is time for you to go check it out. The movie was written and directed by BB Sasore, starring the likes of Onyeka Owenu, Zainab Balogun, Eku Edewor, Ademola Adedoyin, Nkem Owoh, Richard Mofe Damijo, Tina Mba, and others. God Calling is a story of Sade, who encounters God in an unconventional way. To discuss this movie with me and how it made us feel, I've got Precious Nwogu. This is the second time we're having Precious on the show, and Precious is a movie buff. She's a film critic and a movie reporter with Pulse Nigeria. Also, I have Raph Freeman, the team lead of Touchstone International and lead associate pastor at Increasing Grace Min Int'l. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Reviews on the Couch. Let me start with Precious. When you saw the movie God Calling, how did it make you feel?
Okay, so I saw it when it released in cinemas in 2018, and then I also saw it on Netflix. So my experience at the cinema wasn't it didn't I didn't get that what do they call it? For the spiritual folks, when you have some kind of rema. I didn't get that when I saw it. But when I watched
Jehovah.
on Netflix, I kind of actually felt I experienced the film from that point of view as well. And it's such a beautiful film. We don't get films like that in Nollywood, w- that that good in Nollywood. So whenever we do, it deserves the accolades, all the accolades we can get.
The movie itself, right, I love the storyline. I love the storyline. I love how it was able to take someone from rock bottom to a place of purpose. And then it was well told. From my perspective, it was well told. All cinematic boxes were checked. Some were not checked fully, but to an extent, for a Christian film, going and the nature of Christian films we've been seeing in Nigeria in the past, it was really like a notch higher than what we expect. Then the story itself. I watched it first in 2018. Then before it got to the cinemas, it was doing a church tour. They were doing a church tour, so they came over to the church I was serving in Lagos then, and it was an amazing experience. It was nice to be able to see a genuine Christian story told with contemporary tools and contemporary devices. I really, really enjoyed it. Yes, for the Rema, Precious said, the Rema didn't hit immediately, but after seeing it twice, I see it again in cinemas. It was just mind blowing. I stopped seeing things from just the lead character's perspective and started seeing other characters in their individual frames, and that was when the Rema hits. That was when the Rema hit me.
I don't know why you guys Rema is taking a while to hit, but my own was instant. Anyway, although I saw it in the church, like you said, they had this collaboration with different churches where it was screened, and that was when I had the opportunity to see it. But taking it back to Precious, your role in this conversation is to look at it from the lens of a film critic that you are. So, what would you say you saw that was really good, and what you saw that it could have worked on better? And looking at it generally as a critic, how would you rate the movie?
Okay, so from the critic point of view, yeah, I don't want to sound like a broken record and start to list out all of the things that Nollywood does well in terms of filmmaking and divert a little bit into distribution, because that's basically what everybody is talking about now. The kinds of films that are made in Nollywood is is ultimately serving to the narrative of the kinds of distribution that works at the moment. And you see that with the movie, what BB, who is the writer and the director, tried to do was to create. It wasn't about creating that Rema experience. He was about creating a film that can do well in other kinds of distribution. And that's why he thought about a Christian movie, because there's already a channel available to distribute the film. That's through churches. They know that churches will want to screen these films for this kind of film for their church members. I don't want to say audience, for their church members.
Still audience.
So but that was what he tried to do. I heard him say in an interview that he didn't work as planned, so but it was actually really brilliant for him to think out a kind of distribution that wasn't that isn't the norm that you see in Nollywood, which is, or just go straight to cinema or go straight to VOD recently. So that was a really smart move that he made with that. And that, just for me, that meant, see, they are actually thinking, people who think in this industry. So the people who are not just stuck up on a kind of practice and not willing to open up their mind to other mediums. So that for me is instant growth. That for me means it spells growth for me. And then in terms of the film itself, he could have as well just given us a simple Mount Zion film. After all, he was going to tow the church distribution route, but he decided to employ visual effects. So if you've seen the one they released on Netflix, you can see that at the end credits they showed us shots from when they were making the film, how they shot the really interesting third mainland bridge scene, how they were able to get her to appear like she was underwater, whereas she was never underwater at any time. So
Yeah.
it's innovative. It's interesting that we have filmmakers like that who are about thinking. And that's the only way we can grow, really. Because if we keep on doing the same mediocre stuff, we're always going to be second class, even third class when it comes to film production on a global scale. No, people are always, even when the international platforms come, they're always going to, we are always going to undersell, we're always going to be underpaid for how creative we can be, because our output is not exactly does not exactly show that we are thinkers. So I'm really really proud. I'm so excited about the film. It had its flaws, some of them, well, I'm not going to use, but it had, I felt that it could there was, of course, certainly, even your top short films, certainly some of them you still find a little flaw here and there, but ultimately that's one of the best films to come out of Nollywood in recent times, in terms of production, in terms of, in fact, in terms of production alone, sef, even in terms of storytelling, even the fact that the story was so well told, it was beautifully told, and you could, just like Ralph said, you could, although it had a central character, right? But every other character, you could see the story from their perspective. So you could see the father's passion. You could see each of the characters owning their characters, and you could see beyond the people acting these roles, but the roles that they were playing. So it was really beautiful, really believable. Even the child actor too, such a brilliant little child,
Yeah.
brilliant, very
She was
brilliant role.
so
I loved it. I could go on and
amazing.
on and on.
If the title had not been called God Calling, the title of the movie would have been The Purpose for Every Life. That's what I feel. Because if you look at it from the beginning, you would understand that the lady was, that is Sade now, the character Sade, was interpreted as a very domineering person, as someone that will always want to be on top. You have where her her family life is dominated by her own self. Whatever she says goes, to the extent that the young man can there is Francis now. Francis, the character Francis, could not even visit his own parents without her being aware of it, or without her giving him the go ahead. So that character in herself, right, was a representation of what a strong woman can be, and how a strong woman can be in a family, and how God can use a strong woman. So it's not all about I am what's the word I'm looking for here? God can use anything. That is what I'm looking for. God can use anything. So even towards the end, when the assignment came, she was the one that was still at the head of the assignment. She was the one that was giving the assignment, and all he had to do was just follow. But God told her to follow. God told her to bring him along. You understand the whole thing. So from a God perspective, from a Christian life perspective, whatever traits have been in a person, God can still use those traits to sell the gospel. That is what that is what the movie is just trying to tell about. Her father's wealth. I think at the Enugu scene, right, when the father had an encounter, that is the RMD's character now had an encounter. Her father's wealth was explained to be a tool for the gospel. A tool for the gospel. It's that simple. Whatsoever we have at hand, whatever you have in your hands, it reminds me of what of the conversation between God and Moses in Genesis, that Moses was being told to go deliver the people of Israel from the Egyptians, and he said he can't. He is not well equipped for that purpose. And God asked him, "What do you have in your hands?" It was just a staff. Who do you have in your company? He complained he stutters, and God asked him, who do you have in your company? His brother that doesn't stutter. So all the things around us, be it material thing, be it character traits, can all be engineered for the purpose of the gospel. That is exactly what the movie is just selling. That is exactly what I think from a spiritual perspective the movie is just selling. That doesn't matter how broken you are or how bad you think you might be, there is still redemption. I think practically everybody that was in a broken stage in that movie actually got salvation and got redeemed. Yeah, off my head I can count. I think almost everybody from my head got redeemed and got saved. Broken relationships were mended. So I think yes, so to a large extent, the movie itself is the gospel.
Precious, what do you think? I know you're a Christian as well. So talking about the Rema that you did not feel in the cinema and you finally felt it while watching via Netflix, would you want to explain that Rema?
A little different from what from Ralph's explanation, which totally agree with. I just didn't see it from that point of view. I just saw it as, you know, there's always going to be that point in your life when you feel like it's your lowest, and that's just the time when God decides that that it's time for you to finally fulfill your purpose. I've always been this really critical person. I don't readily agree with things. Like you can come and tell me, oh, God has said you should do this. I'm like, when did God tell you that one? Tell me which year did you say it? Why did you say that to you and not to me? You understand? So stupid things like prophecies, blah blah blah, they don't work with me because I've always been extremely critical of of things like that, especially of religion. So watching that movie, I could find myself a little bit in the character Sade in terms of being overly critical about religion, giving, attending church, and all of that stuff. Or this notion that, oh, I have everything all figured out. I really don't need that message of salvation. So, but then watching her journey, watching how she evolved, and it was very interesting because they were trying to capture a modern day woman communicating with God. It's not a white garment, burning bush, feeling experience, right? Or just like Moses, he sees the burning bush and he goes closer and all of that. No,
Do you think we would have this sort of movies, more of it, or this is something that will happen once in a while? Because I've been getting messages from people telling me to go and watch Still Falling. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I hear it's a good one as well. I do not know, but do you think we have gotten to that point where we'll be able to interpret our Christian movies or our Christian stories in a way that is not making you scared of coming to God, but making
Yeah.
you understand that no matter what is going on right now, there is a place of peace for you. There's a place of love and rest for you. Do you think we'll get more of that?
So it's more like if God Calling can do it, other little filmmakers that are Christians and would like to tell Christian stories will be able to come up with their own movies. So I believe we are in an epoch where we will have more of that kind of movies, more of Christian stories coming up to cinemas, coming up to online distribution platforms, and even to broadcast stations and television stations like you have around here in Africa. I believe strongly that this will inspire other filmmakers that have been nursing the idea that they cannot make more money from writing a Christian story or making a Christian film. God Calling will definitely serve as a, how will I say, as a motivation that if God Calling can do it, they also can do it. So it's a new era, it's the dawn of a new era. And then the use of appropriate techniques, appropriate technology to tell Christian stories. This is a sign that it can be done. There are others that we have seen in the past that attempted to tell these stories, but lack of appropriate techniques, that like Precious mentioned earlier, the proper use of visual effects, the proper use of cinematic tools and the likes of them, right? Have always been the bane of Christian movies. That in Nigeria, you want to see a Christian movie, you will know that quality would be a problem. You have already made up your mind that quality will be a problem. But I think we have gotten to the point where most Christian stories from now henceforth will start looking out for the quality factor and then make their stories as competitive as their counterparts that are not in the same genre.
So, what do you think about miracle as a Christian? Is it something you believe in, or is it something you just feel like you don't understand the concept?
I totally believe in miracles. I've experienced a miracle myself more than once. I totally believe in it. It's just that there's there's this like how the Bible says that there will definitely be false prophets in the end time. So a lot of these false prophets try to just make the thing look as though it's some kind of theater show. But ultimately, I believe I used to have um a a cancer on my ear, right? So it will swell, it will close, it will burst, swell back. So I attended this Deeper Life Crusade sometime, I think when I was 13, and then the pastor asked us to pray on any part that was ailing, and I did. And after that time, it went and it never came back. I was supposed to have a surgery done on my ear, but I never did. It just went, and I haven't experienced it till now.
Every man will come to a point in their life where they would have to experience it for their own self. You can tell them, you can talk to people about it, but it is better when it is experienced by the individual personally. My life itself has been a miracle, from one miracle to the other. Some are in the public space, some are not in the public space, but it has been from one miracle to the other. Every day is a miracle for me. And I believe strongly, as dramatic as the miracles we saw in God Calling, there are way more dramatic miracles than what is even in God Calling. God Calling is just even a scratch. It's just a scratch of the things you can really, really experience with God. I take, for example, you see the issue where I have been in a meeting in particular. I've been in a meeting in particular where a short limb grew, like literally grew from the beginning of the meeting to the end of the meeting. I think the most dramatic miracle in God Calling is the restoration of Shola's father's legs. You understand? I have seen something similar to that. A shorter limb grew in a meeting. I have seen that with my two eyes. I wasn't told, I saw it. I have seen a case where I've seen several cases where genotypes were changed, or like miraculously changed. And like Precious said, the problem we have is that there are so many people trying to make it look like magic, or use it for their personal gains. One thing I always say, for everything you find that there are so many fakes of, it means there is an original somewhere. For every time you encounter a fake peddler of miracles, it means that there's an original peddler of miracles somewhere. There are miracles, original miracles somewhere. The best that those people will always do is always be a photocopy, and they can never be like the original. The fact that there's even an existence of the fake shows that there is actually an original somewhere. So yes, I believe in miracles, and I've seen miracles happen, and I know miracles will continue to happen.
Okay, so if you're going to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10, I know Precious is not a nice person, but let's see, what are you going to rate this movie, Precious?
Oh, why me? Why didn't you start with Ralph? Well,
okay, let's hold on. Let's start with Ralph. Ralph, so give us your rating on a scale of 1 to 10. What would it be?
It will be a very strong 8 for me.
Okay, what happened to the other two?
The other two will be for little lapses here and there that I found in the movie, especially for the ones that I felt can easily be corrected while shooting. For example, whenever they were in the house in Enugu, in the, what is it called now? In Nkem Owoh's house in Enugu, there was always this interruption with the curtains from the door, that it got to the point that I think one of the production assistants had to go behind and was holding. It looks that way. I'm not sure if that was what happened, but it looked like they had to be holding the curtains so that the curtains don't leak daylight into the shooting area. So I think basically I like lights. I play a lot with lights. So that is the reason why that took a whole 1, making it 9. And then the second part was I don't know what's her name. I didn't really like her delivery that much, but the girl that was trying to seduce Francis, yeah, she was all over the place for me. So that being said,
Eku Edewor.
it's a strong 8. Yes. Yeah.
Well, okay. I think she played her pro, Sha.
I don't know.
No, she did.
But there was this scene where I felt like they had to do they had to record their voices all over again. So and then
the ADR parts, yes, the parts where they did ADR.
I think it was that scene with when Tinamba was having a conversation with her daughter, Zainab, where the two were having that chat where she was saying, "Oh, she doesn't believe in God." I think it was that scene. That scene felt a little off for me. Also with the child actor, but of course we can forgive her because we don't get. I think there's only one child actor who's been able to totally wow me. I keep forgetting her name. She was in she was in Riona, the African Magic Show, and then also she was in Kayode Kassim's Oga Bolaji. I've forgotten her name. I think I've stumbled on her page once. She's the only child actor that's been able to wow me like back to back. So yes, a couple of those lapses, which, see, let's be honest, you get them every here and there, but the movie is a solid 8 for me. So I agree with Ralph. A solid 8. It's improved. See, as compared
For Precious to give you 8, you have made it in life.
oh, why is that serious?
Hey, you have made it in life. All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you for taking time to do this, and I'm sorry for any technical inconveniences you might have experienced with me. But I like that we had this conversation, and I like that you shared your story to Precious. That's heartwarming because it's giving me the hope to share my story one day. So let's look out for that. Well, thank you so much.
Away from all of this, yeah, I think a lot of when people start to realize that just being alive every day, um, getting feeling healthy, not having to be in hospital, not experiencing some of the things that some other people go through. It's a miracle. So it doesn't need to be that, oh, you grow a limb back, or maybe your what's it called, your blood group or your genotype just changes or something. It doesn't have to be that elaborate, but just the fact that you're alive, you're healthy, you can do your stuff, and things just happen for you easily. It's a miracle. It's not everybody that will
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
experience that wild kind.
Yeah, so can I add to that? Can I add to that? There is one
Okay.
miracle I always tell people we always overlook. You see, there is a pill for sleeping, but there is no pill for waking up.
Hmm.
You can take a
Hmm.
pill to sleep, but there is no pill for
Hmm.
waking up. So even waking up in the morning is a miracle. It's a
Yeah,
miracle.
Pastor Ralph has done it.
Remember,
Yeah, yeah.
remember.
Like, this is how we wrap up. It's over. Thank you. Thank you. If you don't believe there's a miracle, it's on you, fam. Thank you for watching. Do check out God Calling on Netflix if you haven't. And if you're a Christian, I assure you that you're going to enjoy watching it. Your reaction might be different from mine, but all the same, you will definitely enjoy seeing the movie. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel at this point, this is where I beg you to please hit the subscribe button and also click on the bell so you get notified each time there is a new content. My name is Elsie Godwin. Until another episode or another video upload on this YouTube channel, do stay safe.